the 5th episode of Pride and Prejudice, a podcast that aims to challenge stereotypes and break down barriers. I'm your host, Jason Oliveira, and in today's episode, we'll be discussing personal coming out stories within the walls of Lyndhurst High School. Joining us today is Naidyn Rosario, a junior who identifies as a lesbian and has been living in Lyndhurst for 2 years. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty great. How about you, man?
I'm all right. So, can you share your coming out story with us? What was that experience like for you?
That experience was kind of a roller coaster because I feel like I was so young when I first came out. I was like 12. We were on vacation. One day I literally said, "Mommy, I have to talk to you." And I just told her, but I didn't tell her I was actually like lesbian. I told her I was confused because like in that moment, I wanted to give her a little bit of hope, but she always knew. There was always some part of them that always knew because I was like a little tomboy when I was younger, did my little things, playing games here and there, playing soccer all the time outside. So I feel like it wasn't that hard to notice. And the things I was wearing too. I mean, now compared to then, it's completely different. Like I think my mom accepts me now, but she's like, but my dad is just like, whatever, I love you, whatever.
That's so sweet. At what point did you feel ready to come out, and what prompted that decision?
It was a conversation that was happening. We were on this trip. It was in Pennsylvania, and we just started talking about like relationships with our parents. And I was with the cousins and everything, and it got a little emotional when I started crying. And I just was like, I don't know how to talk about this in front of all these people. And then my cousin said, like, just go upstairs with your mom? So she was really scared in that moment because she didn't know what was like, why I was even crying. So, yeah, I came out and she was just like crying, hysterical.
Before coming out, how did you feel about your sexual and or gender identity? Did you have any personal disputes or conflicts within yourself about it?
Not gonna lie, yeah. I think I always knew myself that I just didn't feel anything for guys. Like, I was just like, I would try, obviously, but I was like really young. Like, I was super young. So it really didn't work out for me. And I think living where I was too, it just kind of forced me to be something I'm not. When I first obviously came out in school, like everybody noticed in school because I would just portray myself differently. So like I used to get called names and stuff, but like it never really affected me because I was always that type of person that like, okay, like there's nothing I could do about it. So honestly, I felt like at that time that I just didn't want to be that person. I wasn't really ready to come out, but I did it because I was going to have to do it sooner or later. There was no way that I was going to live my life without saying something.
Yeah, so how has your mental health evolved from before you came out, during the process, and afterward?
Honestly, it was kind of really bad. Like I had a really bad mental state. I went through a really bad rough patch with a lot of people I fell out with, even my parents, like scary situations, so it was because more of the acceptance that I wanted from my mom because me and my mom had like such a rocky relationship. I don't put the blame on my mom for any reason, but I feel that I wanted more of her acceptance and to feel more loved by her. So like my mental health wasn't the best, but then during it, like I just started letting go of everything and like stopped caring about what like people say. And I was like talking to my mom a couple of times and I was like, I don't care what anybody says about me on the outside. Like, you're my mom, so whatever you say, like, it just matters more to me than whatever anybody else has to say. So then I started really getting over that, and I just was like, okay, I want to do this. I want to wear this. I want to dress this way. I want to act this way or this way, but I know, like, who I am.
So, looking back, what were the biggest hardships or struggles you faced concerning your personal, sexual, and or gender identity?
I think it was because, like, I'm so used to seeing, like, it can't be this way. It has to be this way. Like, I'm not going to say I was, like, born into, like, a super religious, like, household or anything. Like, we believe in God. My mom I think she's Christian. My dad, like, he believes in God as well. But they've always kind of brought religion into it in some sort of way. Like the day that I came out, I remember exactly what my dad told me. He looks me in the eyes, and he goes, I already knew Naidyn. And I was just like, mm. And then there was this movie that had just came out, and it was about like, I don't know what it's called, I forgot, but it's like a bisexual movie, I think. And it's this guy that likes this girl and this other girl that likes this other girl, but they go to school together. And he just was like, that's why I wanted to watch this movie with you, basically about something like that. And he was just like, it's not in the Bible, it's not in that, so I don't think it's right, but I still love you. Like, I'm still gonna accept you because you're my daughter. So, like, I think it was always that side of me that wanted to, like, make sure, like, I was okay with my parents. Like, I just wanted that.
If you're okay with it, would you be able to go into some more details about how your family reacted to your coming out? Were there any big familial disputes or conflicts that arose simply regarding your sexuality?
Actually, like, we were trying to keep this a secret from, like, my family, at least on my mom's side, because there's some judgy people. There's some judgy Dominicans, so I can't really do nothing about that. But also, I don't care. This is how I'm gonna live for the rest of my life. So they're either gonna see it sooner or later, they're gonna see it. So it was like my grandma from my dad's side. One time I went to my grandma's house and like I was talking to my cousins and like they just asked me, like I looked very not feminine and they asked me like, "What are you?" Something like that. And I just like told them, I'm a little gay or whatever, just a little bit. And then like one of my cousins already knew, but the other one did it. And like I guess like he told his mom and then his mom told my grandma. But like my grandma called my mom and was like, "So is she confused or something?" And she just came up with this whole lie saying I'm confused, I'm going through a phase. But honestly, like I would only hide it from certain people, but I'm not like changing like what I wear or how I act. Like I just won't tell her, but she could just assume her for herself. Like that's it. I feel like me telling her and like me proving it to her would probably make the situation worse. So I was just like, no. That's like really the only thing that comes to mind when I think of it because nobody else really knows. And like if they do know, my mom don't play. She says don't ask questions. Like this is none of your concern. So nobody really knows much though.
So, what was your experience like within educational settings, such as schools or sports, in relation to your identity?
It was honestly, I don't know how to explain it because it was so all over the place. Like you could genuinely be whatever you wanted to be, but like you would get made fun of every now and then. Like if you looked a little different, that's why it was like, I don't know. At that time, for me, I still dressed like very feminine. Like I didn't stop dressing feminine until I was like 14. Yeah, freshman year, basically. Still, like even when I first came here during my freshman year, I stopped really dressing feminine. But on the first day of school, I came in looking very feminine. And it was just like, I was just playing with my own emotions because I knew that like I didn't want to dress like this. Like I wanted to wear some nice jeans, like baggy jeans, little side, like swaggy sweater, whatever, get a haircut, whatever. Like it really didn't matter what to me, but it just mattered that it made me feel good. Even like, it sucks to say, even an eyebrow slip, bro. Like it was like literally the bare minimum that I wanted. So in school, it was just like, oh, you're a this, you're a that. Like, okay, I know, but like, why do you keep reminding me? Like, I can tell. Like, that's literally the only thing that like bothered me. But it didn't. I just let that go too, because I know there's always gonna be some people that are gonna say something. So I just let it be.
Just be comfortable. Wear whatever you want to wear, and if you feel comfortable wearing, jeans and a baggy jacket, then wear that. But, rock your eyebrow slit. I mean, it looks great on you.
Thanks.
So, like, it doesn't really matter too much, like, as to what other people think, because it's how you want to represent yourself. And that's the whole point of your coming out story, Don't fit into the ideals of what other people want, because at the end of the day, it is your story. And you're the one who needs to feel comfortable. You're the one who needs to feel safe. You're the one who needs to feel recognized and accepted by people. And, I respect your mom so much for kind of protecting you with the rest of the family because, like, it's not grandma's place to say.
Yeah, girl, you already lived your life. Like, it's time for me to live mine.
Not just that, but you're her grandchild, not her child. your mom's the one that's responsible for you. So your grandma really has little to no say on how you should be acting. I mean, your mom's the one who pays the bills for the house that you live in. Your mom's the one who feeds you. Your mom's the one that takes care of you and allows you to go to school and live in such a nice town, not your grandma.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's also why, the people who want to say stuff that go to the school or are out on the street, it doesn't matter. It's not their place to say it. What matters is, you're comfortable, you're happy, and you feel like you're being you, because that's what life is. You need to live your life for yourself. Now, talking a little bit more into your personal life, can you discuss any friendships that were either created or lost due to your coming out? How have your circles changed?
I used to have a lot of friends, not because I was gay, honestly, just I feel like towards the ending of sophomore year, that's when I really lost like this major group that I had. I used to have like a really not big, a really close friend group in New York because I used to live there. So I would come back every Friday, every time I could, every chance I could. I was with somebody in that friend group, didn't end up well. Basically, just it wasn't a good friendship anymore. Like it was just too much going on. There was like a lot of negative things were going on, and I realized that I didn't want to be a part of that anymore because I kept putting myself through that. But that was because I feel like I was always sort of a people pleaser. I feel like everybody says that, but genuinely, I think I was a people pleaser. Though the things that I do or did for them, I just never did that for anybody else. I did really genuinely care for them, but it was just, we grew out of that. And I think it didn't have to do with me being who I am. I just think that we just started to change and grow into different things. Other than that, I think I've made a couple of online friends, little people here in Texas, Cali, hey little gay thing, whatever. But my whole entire friend group here is just literally gay people. Literally. I'm gonna mention them. Jordan, Maya, and River, those are my hearts. They're literally my best friends. We're all lesbian, by the way, if you couldn't tell. But I met Jordan the first year I moved here. I was kind of not a good person because I would just be so stuck in New York and I wanted to be back home. I don't want to be friends with people out here. So I wasn't a good friend to Jordan. She's literally stuck around since then. She's never left my side. And then because of Jordan, I really met most of these people. I mean, I've fallen out with some people obviously out here, but never bad blood. Never bad, but I still see them in the hallways. I say hi. We all have similar, things. We were all, at the end of the day, you attract the people that,
the energy you put out. You attract the energy you give.
Exactly. So I feel even during that time when I was still in that friend group, I think, I'm not going to say it was all them because I was probably all me too, but I don't think I was that bad. I think I was a calm little, not like that, something different. But here it's just so much more different. And I don't feel like I have to make sure my friend isn't doing something behind my back or this or that. But I feel that's just more an environmental thing than people.
I mean, the environment you're in does affect how you act, how you dress, who you hang out with. Definitely, our little town in New Jersey is very different from where you lived in New York.
Yeah, very.
The culture, the language, the events.
Yeah.
Just what you're used to is so different. And, the people in the area also, who you end up hanging out with also affects how you end up acting in the end. And, you've changed for better or for worse. Who knows? Well, that's not for me to decide. But what matters is you have your circle. You have the people that care about you and that you care about closest. And that's all you need. There's no point to go play paparazzi with people.
Yeah, I'm not trying to go back there, man.
Act like someone else that you're not, You want to be able to feel like you can express yourself, especially safely and comfortably, So having that circle allows you to do that. So Naidyn, were there any public figures, icons, or idols that helped you through your coming out journey? How did they influence you?
Honestly, I don't know, but Billie Eilish really helped me. That was a weird phase in my life. I think I was maybe in 6th, 7th grade during that time. But It's not like I had a crush on her. I think I had a crush. No, I have a crush on Ariana Grande. But I think, like, no, not really anybody. I think I just had this own thing for myself. Like, I just knew it.
Were there any friends or family members, maybe anyone that you knew close to you that might have been a part of the LGBTQ or was just an ally that you kind of looked up to?
Actually, maybe my best friend Jay from New York. I like literally grew up with this girl. Like, we've been best friends for like, what, 11, 12 years now. I lived right across the street from her, always outside. I can't lie, I didn't really know about these things when I was younger. Like, I knew about the general stuff. But once I started hanging out with her more, I just started knowing more things. Like, it wasn't like, I think she was just going through a lot of things when she was growing up. So, like, obviously, me being around all that time, I see it and I'm trying to help her through it. So, I think that kind of started my confusion just a little bit. I don't blame her though.
Were there any resources or support groups that you found helpful during your coming out process? And are there any that you'd recommend to others?
Personally, I don't really know any because, like, again, I just did this on my own. If you need to talk to somebody, you talk to somebody. If you need to call somebody, you call somebody. Like, it's not a selfish move if you need help. Like, and I feel like that's what I used to think. But now that I'm here in a different place and I know, like, if I do need help for something, I can always call up Jordan. I can always call up Maya. I can always call up River. Like, I can always call up anybody. I could call up my girlfriend. I could call up my dad, my mom. I can call up whoever. And I know it's not a selfish move because, like, I'm just trying to set the tone. Like, I'm just trying to calm it down. And, like, but I never really had any outside help with that. I just tried what I could have.
If you're interested, or if there's anybody listening that needs it, GLAD with two A's, the Trevor Project, Human Rights Campaign's a big one, PFLAG, the It Gets Better Project, and there's so many more out there. I mean, just search up LGBTQ resources and they're there. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff. There's some that go into the history of, the LGBTQ community and a lot of the struggles and mental health issues, a lot of statistics that are heartbreaking, but, the numbers help prove the facts that are important at the end of the day. They have a lot of useful and great advice and resources that everyone can use. And it's online, it's at your disposal. And, one of the things I like about the Trevor Project is they're known for their website that helps you, like, if you click out in the top corner, it takes you to Google. So, like, pages like that, it's sad that people have to hide,
Yeah.
but it's good that features like that are there for those who unfortunately have to hide. Now, reflecting on your journey, what was the most challenging aspect of coming out and navigating your identity?
I think that I had a lot of help from my dad, honestly. Like, if I didn't have him around or if I didn't have him carrying the way that he would, like, I think that things would have been a lot more different for me in the situation I'd be in right now. You know, he's always tried to be that person. He's always tried to be that person that can understand what I'm talking about or at least try to see it without just seeing some angry little kid. You know what I'm saying? So I think without his like emotional side of him or like just him caring as much as he did, I think that this whole thing would have been a completely different trip. If I would have had both parents as the same thing as my mom, I think like life would have been a little bit more difficult than, you know? But I think that's really like the most major person or thing that has really helped me through this whole coming out thing.
So you just mentioned how your dad is your biggest supporter, and you probably, the outcomes of your coming out story would have been way different if he wasn't your biggest supporter. But you didn't mention him or talk about anything too specific. Would you care sharing anything or any events that, anything you're comfortable with sharing that, shows how much he really did help you?
There's like times where I think there was this one time, I'm trying to remember, but I was like 14, 13 maybe. We were just sitting on the couch and I was just crying to him for hours about nonsense, like literally nothing, like nothing important. But he sat there all those hours just listening to me talk. And he's always done that for me. And I feel like those moments with him, like, I don't take a lot of, like, I don't do it as much anymore. Of course, I would love to sit down with my dad as much as I can just to tell him, like, what's been going on. And, like, he's always been my best friend. Sit down with this man and I write songs with him. I literally play the guitar with him. I sing with him. Like, he has shaped me into so much of, like, basically I'm like him. He has shaped me into another him. Just like, I just have this side of me right now where I feel like it's hard to explain to him, but I know what it is. Like, I'm just growing up. And like, I do want to have like a closer relationship with him now again. There was a time, like, when I first moved here in 2022, obviously I didn't like where I was. I really didn't. I wanted to be back home. I wasn't prepared on moving. It was like sprung on us. Like, we thought we were moving to Brooklyn, and then surprise, you're moving to Jersey. And I was just like, okay, that's great. I mean, new beginnings, I guess. Like, I did kind of want an escape from this. Like, it was starting to get like, no, I can't handle this. For months, I used to just go to New York, go right back upstairs to my room, not spend any time with them. And I had like a falling out with my mom. Not falling out, but like just a bad patch with her during that summer. And all I had was my dad. Literally all I had was him. And like, it's always felt like I've always just had him around, like, just to help me out with certain things. So yeah, that's why I love my dad. I don't know. I just love my dad so much, and he's just the best man ever.
That's good. How does one's personal decision to come out strengthen the LGBTQ community as a whole?
Because it shows that you can do it, no matter like whatever situation you're in. Like, I can't speak for people that have been in worse situations that I have, because obviously I don't understand. I've never been in that. But you just coming out shows some type of bravery, some type of like strength in you. Like, and I feel like no matter the situation, you're not gonna change who you are. And that shows that you can stand on your ground, like stand on business. That's something that like you should be showing, especially to younger kids as well too. Like, coming up into this generation, I feel like it's easy to follow a trend and think that this is just a trend, when this is just literally like, no, this is my life. Like, I can't do this with another person. Like, I can't do this with this person. So I feel like just showing them, like, you could be whatever the heck you want to be. It don't matter. It just shows, like, you got something on you. Like, you can't take that away from them.
Well, I think that concludes it. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And I hope that it made an impact on anyone who's listening. And thank you for your bravery for agreeing to do this. And just good job on being yourself and committing to feeling comfortable and not giving a single thought to what other people, want to say or judge about you.
I'm just living life at this point. I'm just living.
Well said. As we come to the end of this episode, it is essential to acknowledge that we as the audience hold the power to shape perspectives. We can promote diversity, demand authentic representation, and share stories that can genuinely make a difference. If you found this episode of Pride and Prejudice informative, please share it with your friends, family, or anyone who could benefit from this conversation. Let's raise our voices and bring about change. Join us again next time for another enlightening discussion. You can also check out my other podcast, The Queer Quarters, on Instagram, TikTok, and most listening platforms. Above all, remember that it's not just about breaking down barriers, it's about creating a world where everyone's story is recognized and celebrated. Keep listening, learning, and challenging preconceptions. This is Jason Oliveira signing off, reminding you that every story matters.